From historic homes to the halls of government, the rich cultural history of our area includes a wealth of folklore when it comes to the supernatural. And experts say with its countless ghost stories and legends, the state of Maryland could be one of the top states as far as haunted states in the USA. Joining us now in the flesh this morning is Mike Ricksecker. He is the author of Ghost of Maryland. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you got a little chuckle out of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of course, tongue in cheek. Let me just go on the record and say,
sure.
I believe every one of these stories in here, and you know, some things we just can't explain that go on.
Right.
Tell me how you got interested in this.
Well, you know, it's something that's always followed me along. I had a couple of experiences as a child and, you know, with some different, you know, paranormal encounters. And then as I got a little older, got into high school, I read the Amityville Horror.
Yes.
And instead of it scaring me, my first inclination was to want to go to the house and find out exactly what was going on.
Because most people would run from the house.
Right.
You want to run into the house.
I want to go and find out what's going on.
Okay,
right.
All right.
Absolutely.
I love this. A ghostorian.
Yeah. A ghost story, it's kind of a coin that I think I've termed. And what that is a person who investigates and researches a ghost in the place in which it haunts.
Okay. Tell us about the state of Maryland.
The state of Maryland, I mean, it's loaded with all kinds of ghosts and stories. You know, there's fantastic history within the state, especially with the Civil War.
Yeah.
And so there's paranormal activity going on all over the place out here.
The book is Ghost of Maryland, and it's really nice. It's almost too like a tour guide, if you will, of some historical places that you might want to go and visit. But we've sort of separated or isolated a couple of pictures that we want to talk about. That's the cover. Pick it up anywhere wonderful books are sold?
Yeah, it's all over the state.
Okay.
Libraries as well.
Okay. Let's check out the Mud House right now. And of course, we recognize the name. When speaking of the Civil War, we know about the history. But give us a brief synopsis of who Dr. Mudd was in history.
Well, the Samuel Mudd House, Dr. Mudd, when John Wilkes Booth assassinated President Lincoln, he first stopped at the Surratt House, then went to Dr. Mudd House because he had broken his leg jumping out of the balcony. Excuse me. And so he knew of Dr. Mudd, went there to get his leg tended to, and from that, Dr. Mudd was convicted in the conspiracy of Abraham Lincoln. And basically what did it in for him was the authorities found one of John Wilkes Booth's boots underneath the bed upstairs.
Wow, and I want to stop right there. There is the bed, tell us what is really sort of creepy about that bed.
Well, what's going on with the bed, I had shown up one morning to get some pictures of the home while I was researching Ghosts of Maryland. I had actually lost the pictures from my first visit, showed up that morning, and there was actually nobody there at the time. But as I was just going to take off, get a couple outside shots, one of the docents showed up, said, well, why don't you come on in, take your pictures while I'm opening the place up. And I started asking him about what his experiences at the home had been. And he talked about you know, different apparitions he had seen, you know, basically, you know, things that go bump in the night.
Right.
And as we're going up the stairs, he talked about the impression that they get on the bed in the room in which John Wilkes Booth had slept.
Wow.
And as we go up there, he's opening up the blinds. I look down at the bed, and I'm like, you mean an impression like this?
Wow.
And it was funny, actually, because he was a bit upset that he had to fix the bed.
Right. Right. That's just, and hence the term, your name is Mud, right? That's where that comes from in our, you know, vernacular.
The people at the Mud House would like to say that that is not where that comes from.
Right?
Right.
Really? Just for curiosity's sake, where do they say it comes from? Do they have an answer for that?
They don't have an answer for that.
Really? Okay.
So
well, that's
you never
very
know.
cool, though. Let's take another quick look at one of another really, what you say people have experienced hauntings there. That is the Mount Airy, and it's in Upper Marlboro. Can you tell us a quick story about this?
Yeah, Upper Marlboro, Mount Airy Mansion. What I like to tell about this location is when I was researching, I came across a little one-liner online that talked about a girl who was forlorn, depressed over losing the love of her life. And as a ghost historian, I like to research the history of the people that live there. And I didn't like the fact that there's just this little one-liner about this girl. So digging into her history, I found her actually in an old book from 1914 called Colonial Mansions of Maryland and Delaware. And they had a piece on Mount Airy Mansion. And it tells a story of an Ariana Calvert whose father basically had forbidden her from seeing this boy that she had fallen in love with, to the point where he actually sent her to Annapolis to live with her sisters. And they were trying to find new suitors for her there.
Yes.
And she declined every single one of them. And she ended up becoming so depressed from not being with her love that even though her father passed away and the mother invited her back to the home, she'd grown so ill that she actually passed away and is now haunting the home.
A broken heart. Okay, look, if you want to hear more ghost stories, you have an opportunity to do that. There is an event tomorrow, Saturday, October 26th. It's at 7 p.m. at the Montpelier Mansion
in Laurel.
Historic Site in Laurel. And not only will the author be there, Mike will be there, but also there'll be a tour,
Yes.
a candlelight tour, and it says, "If you dare." I love that. All the information on our website, myfoxdc.com. Mike Ricksecker is the author of Ghost of Maryland. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy Halloween to you.
Happy Halloween.
All right. Tony, over to you.
Great.